the official records yesterday or this morning said there was the 10th child. As you all point out, exactly, the unofficial numbers can unfortunately be that officially it's already further down the line. So the official records yesterday or this morning said there was the 10th child officially registered in a hospital as having starved to death. A very sad threshold, similar sad as the 30,000 deaths we reached all over Gaza. And similar like those, these are official records. And as you all point out, exactly, the unofficial numbers can unfortunately be expected to be higher. And once we see them registered in hospitals, once we see them registered officially, it's already further down the line. Olcha here pointed out, the system in Gaza is well, we said it many times, it's on its knees, it's more than on its knees. The freshwater supply has been cut off since immediately after 7 October. The electricity has been cut off since immediately after the horrifying attacks of the 7th of October. All the lifelines in Gaza have more or less been cut. The electricity has been cut off since immediately after the horrifying attacks of the 7th of October. So, and all this leads to a desperate situation, as we saw yesterday in the unfortunate, horrifying incidents where hundreds of people got killed. While there's a while the Secretary General mentioned exactly that an investigation should show what the real causes were, that's not even right now important. Important is that people are so desperate for food, for fresh water, for any supplies, that they risk their lives in getting any food, any supplies to support their children, to support themselves. This is the real drama. This is the real catastrophe here. That food and supplies are so scarce that we see these situations coming up. And the food supplies have been cut off deliberately. Let's not forget that. And we all know that January was not enough at all. So, and all this leads to a desperate situation, as we saw yesterday. We saw pictures from Al-Shifa, where victims of the attacks, of the horrifying situation yesterday, of the killings, were lying next to each other on the floor, awaiting any type of treatment. This is the real drama here, and that is why, despite to the calls now that this may delay the ceasefire, this just underlines more and more that we need an urgent ceasefire now. If not now, when then? Supplies that they risk their lives in getting any.
Once a famine is declared, it is too late for too many people. That's exactly why we use the F word, as we call it, right? Because we don't want to get to that situation, and we need things to change before that.
So sorry, Jenny. I know that.
Yeah, really. It was super interesting, and we went there.
Gaza health authorities said more than 100 Palestinians were fatally shot by Israeli forces as they waited for an aid delivery on Thursday. In this graphic video obtained by Reuters, Gazans can be seen carrying the injured and the bodies of the dead on donkey carts. The White House called the reports a serious incident. We mourn the loss of innocent life and recognise the dire humanitarian situation in Gaza, where innocent Palestinians are just trying to feed their families, a White House National Security Council statement said. The largest single loss of civilian lives in weeks in Gaza came as the overall death toll passed 30,000 people in nearly 5 months of conflict, according to Palestinian health officials. Medical teams said they were unable to cope with the volume and severity of the injuries from Thursday's incident, with dozens of wounded taken to the Al-Shifa hospital, which is only partially operational after Israeli raids. In another video, bodies and the wounded are piled onto what is said to be an aid truck. Reuters was able to verify the location, but not when it was filmed. UN Aid Chief Martin Griffiths said he was appalled at the reported killings and injuries. At Kamal Adwan Hospital, this witness, who didn't give his name, said people found out aid would be delivered to the Nabulsi area and headed there.
Then, at 5 minutes to 4, we were surprised by Israeli tanks that came out and opened fire on people randomly and directly. Immediately afterwards, all we found were martyrs, the injured and the wounded, scattered on the ground in a chaotic and horrifying manner. This is my brother who went to bring food for his children. He was injured, trying to get a living.
Aid deliveries to northern Gaza have been rare and chaotic, passing through more active military zones, to an area where the UN says many people are starving. Israel has challenged the reported death toll in Thursday's incident. Its military released this video it said showed people crowding round aid trucks. A military official said dozens were injured or killed by being trampled or run over. He said some of the people who rushed the convoy approached Israeli forces, including a tank, which then opened fire. US President Joe Biden, asked if he thought the incident would complicate truce talks taking place in Qatar, said, "I know it will." Hamas warned in a statement those efforts, which are aimed at securing a ceasefire and hostage release, could now be jeopardized. The war in Gaza began when Hamas sent fighters into Israel on October 7th, killing around 1,200 people and seizing 253 hostages, according to Israeli tallies. The Office of Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas said he, quote, condemned the ugly massacre conducted by the Israeli occupation army this morning.
Solo non ci va con la classe, ci va